The rain had been falling for 3 days straight. A soft, endless drizzle covered the city like a gray curtain. Streets reflected the colorless sky, and people moved about like shadows, hunched, hurried, heads down. Horns honked, puddles splashed, and umbrellas dotted the sidewalks like dull mushrooms, mostly black, navy, or gray. The world seemed tired. In a small corner cafe, tucked away between a bookstore and a flower shop that hadn't seen fresh blooms in weeks, sat an old man named Mr. Arthur Bennett. The regulars simply called him Mr. B. Every day, at precisely 2 o'clock, he would sit in the same booth by the window. He never ordered anything more than a single cup of black coffee, which he rarely finished. He brought a newspaper, but barely read it. Most of the time, he just stared out the window. Mr. Bennett had once been a beloved music teacher at the local high school. His students remembered his kind eyes and how he used to say, "Music is what feelings sound like." But that was a different time. That was before he retired. Before his wife, Eleanor, passed away. Before silence settled over his home and his days became shadows of the past. On this particular rainy afternoon, he sat with his fingers curled around the lukewarm coffee cup, eyes scanning the glistening pavement outside. Everything looked the same. Until something changed. A flash of color moved across the street. Not just any color, but bright yellow, a cheerful, defiant yellow that stood out like sunshine in a storm. It was an umbrella. Beneath it was a little girl, no more than 8 years old. Her raincoat was sky blue, and her red boots splashed through puddles with a freedom adults had long forgotten. But what caught Mr. Bennett's attention wasn't just the color. It was what she did next. She stopped suddenly, kneeling on the sidewalk. Carefully, she set her umbrella down, shielding something on the ground from the rain. Curious, Mr. Bennett leaned closer to the window. There, curled against the cold concrete, was a tiny brown puppy, shivering and soaked to the bone. The girl, without hesitation, took off her coat and wrapped the puppy in it. She spoke gently to it, her small hands stroking its wet fur. She looked around, searching for someone. Anyone who might help. Mr. Bennett looked away. "Someone else will help," he told himself. "It's not my place." But still, he watched. The girl sat there, rain soaking through her clothes now, her yellow umbrella barely keeping the storm at bay. People walked past her, some glanced briefly. Others didn't notice her at all. Something stirred in Mr. Bennett's chest. A flicker, a whisper, a chord he hadn't felt in years. Before he could talk himself out of it, he stood up, grabbed his own umbrella and stepped outside. The rain was colder than he expected. His coat offered little protection, but he pressed on. As he crossed the street, the girl looked up. Their eyes met. She smiled, wide, unguarded, full of hope. "Sir," she said, "can you help me? He's really cold, and I don't know where to take him." Mr. Bennett knelt beside her. Up close, the puppy looked worse than he thought. Its eyes were half closed, its breathing shallow. "I know a place," he said softly. "Come with me." He led her back to the cafe. The staff raised eyebrows but said nothing. Mr. Bennett asked for a towel, a small bowl of water, and 2 hot chocolates. They sat together in the booth, Mr. Bennett, the girl, the puppy tucked in her lap. "My name's Lily," she said between sips. "I saw him on the way from school. I couldn't just leave him." Mr. Bennett nodded, watching her fuss over the puppy with such care. "That was very kind of you." She grinned. "My mom says kindness is how we make the world brighter." Mr. Bennett smiled, really smiled, for the first time in a long while. They waited there until the animal shelter arrived. The staff promised to care for the puppy and try to find it a home. Lily looked relieved. As they stood outside, the rain had slowed to a light mist. Lily turned to Mr. Bennett and handed him something. "Here," she said. "You can borrow my umbrella. Yellow makes people happy." He laughed, his eyes misting, not from the rain. "I think you've already done that." She waved goodbye and skipped down the street. Mr. Bennett stood there for a long time after she left. The city was still wet. The clouds hadn't lifted, but something inside him had changed. For the first time in years, he felt it. A flicker of warmth, a quiet light where there had only been silence. A reason to wake up tomorrow. Hope hadn't come crashing in. It hadn't shouted or knocked down the door. It had arrived softly, carried in the hands of a little girl beneath a yellow umbrella on a rainy day he thought would be like all the rest. Hope appears when you least expect it. Sometimes it wears red boots, holds a yellow umbrella, and saves a life, yours included.